I hope the holidays are going well for you. Today we get to do one of my most favorite things that I get to do all year as far as planning goes, and that is the 25 Days of Planner Tips hosted by Tamara from the Paper and Pen Girl. I am so excited. Every year when I get the message from her and she's invited me back, I'm extra excited. I just love it because it's wrapping up the year. A lot of times we're getting set up for the next year, and getting 25 days of tips about a specific topic from 25 different people is really helpful. I find so many helpful things every year, regardless of the topic that Tamara chooses. So first of all, if you want to see the whole list from the beginning, if you go to the Paper and Pen Girl on YouTube, her video starting this whole series off from December 1st has in the description box, she adds the upcoming channel every day, right? So whoever's supposed to be posting a video that day, theirs will be added to the list. So all of the other ones from December 1st onward are listed already. So if you need to find where to start so you can watch them all through, that's where you want to go. Yesterday was Kristen at Kristen Kremer, and I may be mispronouncing your last name, Kristen. I am so sorry if I am, who posted a fantastic video about, breaking tasks down and whatnot. So the topic this year, I'm feeling a little scattered. Can you tell? I'm so sorry about that. The topic this year is from planned to done, right? Like we all like planning. We all enjoy planning, the planning part. Sure, no problem, right? You can do it a million different ways. That's neither here nor there, right? The thing is, are you getting the stuff done that you're planning, right? And I really had to think hard about this because it's like one tip, like what is one tip I have about getting from planned to done? And if you've been around my channel at all at any point in time, I'm sure you've heard me say before, system, right? Doesn't matter what kind of planner you're in. I don't care what it looks like. It doesn't matter. What matters is, do you have a system that works with your brain instead of against your brain, right? Are you utilizing that system? Are you making sure the system is tailored to your brain? So my big thing as far as my system goes is the seamless flow of information. I want to be able to put information in here easily and not lose it. I want to be able to retrieve that information without having to hunt around forever to find it, right? I also want to know what I need to get done and when I need to get it done easily. Again, I don't want to take time and mental power to find things. So there's a lot of little things that I do that add up to getting from planned to done. But because I kept kind of thinking about it, and when I tried to break it down to like, well, where does most of that happen? Where does the doing happen? Generally, it happens on a weekly basis for me, right? So I thought what I would do is I will show you where things go. So if I have something I need to get done, where does that go, right? And then where does it maybe migrate from there to get done? Because that's the other thing about my system that has to work, is the seamless flow of information is not only into the planner and then back out of it again, but between sections of my planner. So I thought, since I just ended my semester, thank goodness, and I'm on break, I thought, well, before I set up next semester, what if I just tell you how I set up for a semester, right? Or for a class, actually. I do it the same way for all of my classes. So, but the hub of that is really on a weekly basis. Okay, so let's get into this thing. That's a lot of me talking. I apologize for that, but I felt like the setup was necessary. Okay, so we have in here, what happens is when I get, you guys look, I busted out my really old Malden. I got this used maybe 9 years ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, from like the buy sell trade on Filofaxy. I'm still struggling with the strap a bit. The strap gives me a little bit of a hard time, but oh my gosh, it's amazing. So we'll see if the strap will argue with us or not. So here's how this works. So the hub is my weekly. Okay, so let's go there first. Now I change my weeklies a lot. That's the beauty of being in Rings or in just a blank bound book, like like a Moleskine or astrology, whatever, something that's just, I like grid. So something that's just grid and that's it. Because weekly I can change up for whatever I may need. For a little while now, the week on one page has been working pretty well. Because there's been a lot to do for school, but a lot of it has been time consuming. So it hasn't been multiple tasks. It's been a couple of tasks that are just big tasks, if that makes sense. So this is the hub of everything. Okay. And I've got Post-its covering up for my job. I've got some students' names in here. So ignore like the little white Post-its. I know they kind of detract from the look, but so everything kind of centers around this. Okay. My weekly setup. So in my weekly is every timed thing that needs to happen, right? Every timed thing that I need to make happen. And then the stuff that needs to happen. Okay. And a lot of that is school stuff, right? Like I said, see, some of these lists are just not that big, right? But it's just stuff that a lot of it, the school stuff, just takes time. Okay. So where does all that come from, right? So what I thought I would do is, let's say at the beginning of the semester, I get a syllabus for a class, right? So the first thing I do is everything that is due for that entire semester goes into a list, an inbox section, whatever. I move them around. They have this last semester been up in the inbox section. So I will take, for each class that I have, I will take one of these, a blank one, right? And I'll put the name of the class up here. And then just in the order that it's due, every single thing that's due, every reading assignment, the day, I always put things on here as due the day before they're actually due. Okay. I like to have things done the night before at the latest that they're actually due. So any homework assignments, readings, lab reports, exams, papers, whatever. It all goes in here in order, right? In chronological order. So I might have, I can't fathom. I want to say I can usually get it all on one of these, like front and back. Okay. And then I have one of those for each class, and that lives in my inbox section. Okay. So every single freaking thing that I need to get done is up here in this inbox. Okay. And then in my monthly, I have, let's look at November because that's a little more, there we go. So I could put due dates for things in here, but it gets messy really quickly. Okay. So what I found was I am better off putting all the timed stuff in here, right? Even though, by this point in the semester, I know what time classes are and I know what time work is. I know what the weekly and daily routines are, but just in case something changes, all the timed stuff goes in here. And then I just indicate, hey, there's something due for a certain class, just with a little box. I fill it in with Tombows. Each class has its own color. So I just know if I look at the 8th, well, I know at work, I was doing revisions with students, but then, oh, look, I had something due for chemistry that day. And if I, as I'm filling in my weekly, I can refer to this, go, oh, there's something due. And I can go back to my inbox, find the 8th and go, oh yeah, that's due, right? And it's usually Saturday or Sunday before the start of the week. Okay. So those two things together fill this thing up, right? I drop off and pick up our youngest son the same time every day, Monday through Friday. Well, one day he's got late start, but otherwise, that schedule stays the same. That does not go on the monthly. Okay. But I do put it on the weekly. Every single timed thing that I need to make happen goes on this weekly. Okay. So that comes from here. Because I can plan all I want, but if I don't have a good handle on this stuff that I need to make happen at certain times, I'm not going to have time to get anything from planned to done because I'll be scrambling around too much, right? So I need to be, aware of where I need to be, when I need to be there, how long it's going to take, how long am I working, whatever the case may be. So that's the first thing I generally do is I go here and I go, okay, is it the regular schedule, right? Is the schedule the same as it usually is? And I fill in every drop off, work, pickup, anything like that. I will also include stuff like my chemistry final was that day. If it's a big thing, like an exam, lab practical, stuff like that. Papers, big things, big things, not homework, not lab reports, not the stuff that tends to be due every week over and over. Okay, does that make sense? So everything else goes here. On the task side, that stuff, I get a little hint from here, right? It'd be like, okay, let's see. On the 13th, I have something due for chemistry. On the 15th, I have something due for chemistry, and I had an exam. And then that was it for that week, because then there was another lab report due the following week. So my monthly gives me a hint, basically, like a prompt. Hey, here's my schedule. Got it. Now, oh, big day there, right? So you can go back to that one, actually. So that's marked on here. And I had labs due that day, so I didn't write the exam in there. So that's where the timed stuff comes from. And then the task stuff, I kind of get prompted from here, and that is where I would go back to my inbox. And for the new semester, it would be on its own page, right? And I'd go, okay, what is due from the 11th to the 17th? So I would just find it. And then everything that is due that I need to work on this week, first the stuff that's due that I haven't already done would go over there. And then the stuff that is possibly coming up due next week, but it's bigger stuff, so I have to start working on it now. That goes in another little section. Like the stuff that's due this week would go here. I'd have kind of an upcoming section that would be like, hey, don't forget, because it's due Monday or whatever. You can't wait till Monday to do it. That would go next. And then and that's everything. Homework, reading, blah, blah, blah. Everything, every single thing goes over there. So what this leads to is this idea of weekly past, present, and future planning, right? And I say that because I think the present part is obvious, okay? I know what I need to do for the week, and I just need to stay on top of it. And this is not so that I can get more done and be more productive. And this, like everything planning wise for me is so that I can make sure I still have time to breathe, right? I can still have time to enjoy things so that I, have time with family. So that's what the point of all of this is, right? And to graduate, don't get me wrong. but so my present planning weekly wise is here, is everything on here. I can look in one place for this whole week. I don't have to go anywhere else. I can come straight to it. That's the ease of access of information for me, right? When I say future planning, that's my inbox part. That is where I have the big old list of everything that's coming due, when it's due. I don't have to constantly go back and look at a syllabus and, find whatever section of it the due dates are listed in. I just have it all ready. If anything changes, they always tell us, send us announcement, whatever. So I like to get it in here once. It also goes in a reminder list. Each class, I make a reminder list in my phone because then they'll show up in the calendar on my phone as well, just as a kind of a backup, right? So I like backups of backups. So that is where the future planning part comes, is from basically the task list or the inbox list or the project page, whatever you want to call it, the list of stuff that I have to get done to complete that semester, right? And the future part also comes from my monthly calendar, right? I fill this in at the beginning of the month or the end of the previous month, actually, as best I can, right? And as stuff comes up. But I know when I'm going to have class. I know when there are birthdays. I go through and mark my assignments so I have some prompts. I mark the really big stuff that's due. So that's also future planning, right? Now, the past part might sound kind of confusing. For the past part of the weekly planning, what I mean is, and I'm really guilty of this in rings, I will take stuff out sooner than I should. Like as you'll see, November is still in here. Part of me is like, take it out. Well, it bugs me that only leaves December for the year, and I don't know why that bugs me, but December will be lonely. So, but especially my weeklies, I can carry a lot of weeklies, especially if I can stick to a week on one page. I can carry a lot of weeklies in my planner. But I had this habit for years of pulling things out right away because it's like, why am I still carrying it? I'm not going to need the weekly from 3 months ago, right? I can archive it. I still have it, but I don't need to carry it. So because I can take it out easily, I would take it out. And then I was in bound books for long enough to realize how much encouragement I got from having those previous weeks still in my book, so that when I was feeling frustrated, or if I was feeling overwhelmed, or if I was feeling like I wasn't doing a good job, it was really easy. Again, the ease of access to information. But this was more for like, not for the information's sake. It was more for the feeling's sake, right? It was like self-support. I could flip back and go, boy, I remember that week, last semester was really hard. How did I get through that? Because I'll have little notes here and there. And, yes, it's nice for reference too, to be able to look back. But I do have other, like a yearly index for things to look quickly. When was the oil change last? Whatever. I don't mean that kind of stuff. I mean the stuff where you know that you need to try to give yourself a boost. You need a pep talk. You know that you need to remember that you got through other stuff before you're going through what you're going through now. For me, hanging on to weeklies is easy. I use thin enough paper. The week on one page especially makes things really compact. So I stopped taking things out quite so early so that I could look back on them. And that helps me see what I've already gotten done, right? When I'm pushing toward the end of the semester toward finals, or when it's getting to be this time of year and, the kids are also pushing toward either finals or their winter break, like for our youngest son, like everybody's kind of like, keep pushing, right? And it's helpful to be able to look back over the last couple of months and go, look how far we've come, right? Like I managed that far. I got this, So that's where the past part comes. So past, present, and future weekly planning. The past part being hang on to your stuff for just a little while if you can, if you like to. If it bothers you to carry around the old pages, don't. But, I just kind of stopped. Every 3 months I'd pull out my weeklies, and I really don't need to. So I'm trying to leave them in for like maybe 6 months this year. We're going to try it and see what happens. Having things in a bound book taught me that. Present planning is obviously do the stuff, right? Like, get through the stuff, know when it's okay to leave something because something else has to be done first, and maybe tackle that thing in the upcoming week if need be, right? That's to me present weekly planning. Do the stuff. The future planning is stick to that inbox, stick to that monthly calendar, and, wedge in times for enjoyable, calming, or fun things in that future planning so that they happen when the present planning comes. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you found this helpful. I'm super thankful for you coming and watching this today. Thank you again to Tamara from Paper and Pen Girl for inviting me. I cannot tell you how tickled I am every year to get that message. I'm so honored when you ask every year. Please go to Paper and Pen Girl's channel for the 25 days of planner tips. And if you, like I said, go to the description box. I will also have down in my description box a link to Kristen's channel from her video from yesterday. And tomorrow is Amanda. And if you go to, I will put a link down below. I'm having a brain cramp and I'm really irritated with myself because on my notes, I wrote it, but I didn't finish the note. I believe it's Amanda's favorites. If it is not, I will annotate the screen. Amanda, I'm really sorry about that. I'm getting tired. And then on the 26th, go to Paper and Pen Girl's channel again for a final wrap up. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you enjoy the other days of planner tips because there is always such a wealth of information out there. We have some good brains in this community and I love it. I hope you're all doing well and I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.